Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Laurens Acison, and I'll be giving you some information about my organization, the European Transport Safety Council, and I will also give you some more information about the work that we do, the projects that we have. I'll then talk about road safety and traffic safety in Europe, and then I will talk about some of our priorities for the next few years. We have 60 member organizations from across Europe. This includes both the European Union and countries that are outside of the European Union. Is this? Yep. These members come from a variety of backgrounds. We have transport administration bodies, we have universities and academic institutions, and we also have companies from the corporate and private sectors. Our office is based in Brussels. We are an NGO organization. We are not for profit, and we try to promote a science-based approach to traffic safety and transport safety in Europe. We receive our funding from a number of sources, one of which is the European Commission, which gives money for our specific projects, but we also receive funding from other organizations, traffic administrations in our member countries, and we have sponsors for our specific projects which will give money over a longer period of time for some of the work that we do. And you can see some of the examples here on the screen. Companies like Volvo and Toyota and SecureTech that have an investment in transport safety issues. These are some examples of the projects that we organize. The work we do is usually focused on monitoring transport policy within the European Commission and within European countries, but we also run these projects such as our PIN, Road Safety Performance. This is a project where we collect statistics from across Europe and put them together each year so we can follow the data and statistics across Europe. And we also have projects on specific issues, for example, drink driving, drug driving, and we look at specific groups like young people and people who drive for work as well. Okay, I will now talk a little bit more about the road safety situation across Europe this year and in the past few years. The last 3 years have been very bad for progress across the European Union. The numbers are not decreasing as we would like to see. In fact, the line is going flat. So in 2016, 25,684 people were killed on the roads in the European Union. This is the figure for the last full year of data that we have, but we produce a new figure every year. And if we look at the changes, our objective was to reduce the number of people killed on the roads by 50% from 2010 to 2020. And the dotted line you can see is the progress we would like to see. But at the moment we are only on 19%. We saw a 1% increase between 2014 and 15, which was the first increase in a long time. A 2% reduction in the year following this. So in the past 3 years we have only had a 1% reduction. So it is very unlikely that we will reach the target that we have set by 2020. Here you can see the progress being achieved by individual countries across Europe. Some countries, those on the left in the green, you can see have been doing very well. They are much further than the average of 19%. Countries like Portugal, Greece, Lithuania. If you look on the right-hand side in the red, these countries have been performing very badly in the last few years. Malta, Sweden, and the UK there. What we want to see next year and in the coming years is for more countries to be in the green because progress is slowing down, especially in Northern Europe. It is also interesting that even countries that we think of as having very good transport safety and traffic safety, like Sweden or the Netherlands or the United Kingdom, some of these countries are finding it very difficult to make progress. So we need to think about why this is, what are some countries doing that is being effective. Here you can see, this gives you an idea of road safety and traffic safety across Europe. As I mentioned, those countries in the north of Europe, Sweden and Norway and the United Kingdom, perform very well. When we move towards Eastern Europe and the Eastern Balkans, we can see that the situation is not as good. However, as I showed in the previous slide, some of these countries are making the best progress. So it is interesting to hear examples from here and in nearby countries that it is possible to make progress even when you start from a difficult situation. We heard earlier about the issue of serious injuries on the roads. We have 25,000 killed, but we have 135,000 people being seriously injured on our roads. And this is an issue that we would like to see more work being done on in the future. In the last 10 years, our focus has been on those people who are killed, but we need to think more about those people who are being seriously injured on the roads as well. This happens for a number of reasons. We know the key factors are alcohol, speeding, not wearing seat belts, distraction. So it's these issues that we need to make sure people are aware of and that we're targeting. I'll now talk more about some of the challenges and the priorities for my organization in the coming years. As mentioned, traffic injuries is something we need to work on. We also want to look more at vulnerable road users, pedestrians and cyclists, but also motorcyclists. And we want to look at drug driving as well, and the issue of vehicle safety. We are launching a campaign to get a target for serious injuries, which we have been working on in Brussels, meeting important individuals like the Pope. So we want to see a reduction in speeding, targeting these vulnerable road user groups. We want to make sure infrastructure is better in our local communities, so it is easier for people to cycle and to walk, because these are healthy options as well. So we want to encourage people to do these instead of driving. And we also need to make sure that care after a collision is good, so that if people are injured, they can get to a hospital and receive medical treatment as quickly as possible. This shows you the number of vulnerable road users. They are almost 1/3 of all the people killed on our roads. And this proportion is increasing, so we need to make sure we focus on this. For them, again, it is the issue of infrastructure and making sure we have slower speeds, so people are not killed when they're hit. They are more likely to survive the accident, and also how we can change the design of a vehicle so that people are more likely to survive, and also put technologies into the vehicle so that the car will stop before they hit somebody, and they are more likely to follow the speed limits. And also we need to make sure that we educate people in local communities about the reasons why we do this and what they can do to improve traffic safety. Drug driving, we know about alcohol and driving. This is 3.5% is the number we know of in the European Union, but we also think that illegal drugs are in almost 2% of the population. So this is a serious issue that we want to look at more in the coming years. When we look at individual people, they tell us the numbers are higher. 11% are saying they have driven after using illegal drugs, and 22% after using medication. So these are drugs which are legal, that people can buy from a doctor or a pharmacy. So this is something we need to look at. How to tackle drug driving is very expensive to deal with because it requires a lot of technology. So we need to make sure we have good technology and a standard across Europe to deal with this. But also we need to make sure that the police are trained and they know how to operate these things, and they know where to use them and when to use them, and also to conduct more research into the issues surrounding drugs. And finally, automated vehicles. We need to consider the future of transport and traffic. This may be a long way off, but it is coming more and more quickly. So there are many benefits. We may be able to reduce the number of people killed significantly because of the technology and because humans won't be making mistakes when they drive. And also we can use them for high-risk groups like young people and older people. But we also have challenges. We do not know much about these things, so we need to conduct more research into them. And we also need to do research into the way that automatic cars will interact with normal cars and with normal people. How will they behave and how will they think? And we need to also make sure that our infrastructure and our communities are designed so that these vehicles are able to use them. So finally, we will have to think about the way in which we test these vehicles and the way in which we make sure that they are safe for use on our roads. So these are some of the issues that we're thinking about in the coming years. So thank you very much for your attention.